Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Wednesday Night Racing here at Slow Motion Broadcasting. And tonight we are at the virtual high-speed circuit. This is none other than Monza in virtual Italy. This track is the high-speed banked circuit, providing a backdrop through the parkland trees. The atmosphere here is like no other. A mix of speed, melodrama, and a little bit of hint of melancholy as well. So with this league here today, we've got SRG, Sim Racing Group, going to be on the track, providing the action for us today. And today it's Mike Braun in the booth, along with Ron Maz when he gets here. He's stuck in traffic on his way into the virtual production booth. But right now, I am joined by Adam Thompson in the production studio. Adam, we are going to have a lot of fun. Last week was a lot of action, and I think we're going to have a lot of action tonight.
I think we will. I think we always have quite a bit of action when it comes here to the Sim Racers Group F4 Intermediates. But before we get to the track, we're going to ride on board with someone a little bit special, I think, this evening, Ron. But first, let's get through through the points. Varun Bali sitting in first, not far in front of Alex Velasco, who's in second place, with Josh Carwin rounding out your top three. Now we're going to move on to Inner 2, and Inner 2 is a bit more spread out. Chris Wang is pulling away with it with 98 points. Jose Naves Molina, the husband of Embriette Hyde, who we're going to try to interview again this week. I hope I got my computer worked out. We're going to find out when we get to the interviews this afternoon. So we will get Jose's wife in the interview waiting room, or in the interview at the end of the race, and Rafael Cardenas rounding out your top three there. And this is the closest points of them all. Just kidding. Stephen Case has 100 points. He's the only one in that class, and you will see for a very, very good reason. And you know what? Alex mentioned something about rain, and the only thing I can get pulled up here is this race info screen, and it's not looking, there's 81% humidity, so we might get some rain. Mike, I don't know if you can check that or not, but before we get to that, why don't we do an onboard lap here with someone who is very near and dear and clearly in quite a few people's dreams. So let's see where he is on track right now. If I can find him, there he might be. I can't find him. Just stand by. Stand by. I got him. I'll find him, I promise. Or will I?
Should we play the Jeopardy theme right now?
We probably should. Oh, there he is. Let's see. Where is he at? Laps. You know what? We're going to ride on board with him anyways, and we can just look and bask in the beauty. And you're not going to get to see the what I'm talking about here until the end of qualifying and when we go to him in the race. But we will go ahead and ride on board here with Jason Kocher right now, about 3/10 of a lap around it before he starts his first flying lap here, Mike. And I'm going to let you take over when he gets there, and I'll let you take us around what is going to be a very interesting track. We had Thruxton last week, very draft heavy, Mike. I think this one's going to be even more so.
Yeah, no, this is definitely going to be a very draft-heavy track as he is coming through, looks like the second Lesmo right now, and into the short straightaway that's kind of leading him down into a Ascari turn, so kind of down underneath this bridge. But this is just going to be so many straightaways that these guys are going to be able to draft and keep going. And as you see, making it to turn into a Ascari right now. We've got Jason coming through nice and clean so far, and down that next little short shoot into the Parabolica turn, kind of the ever-famous turn. Real long right-hand turn. You really want to lead it out to that outside edge when you come around on exit, and then you kind of cut down on the straightaway. So we'll have to see how Jason comes through here. As we're in qualifying right now, got about 4 minutes down. Still have about 11 minutes to go as we're on board with him right now. Down that front straightaway, super long front straightaway. This is where your drafting is going to come into play. You're going to pick up with that first guy that's up there, and then you wait till about the 150 board or so, and you're going to pop out and get on the brakes and slow down coming into turn one, which is that Prima Varianta. I'm going to struggle with these names. I did not take Italian in high school or any college, so
you're doing
pardon
fine.
me if I murder these names. Then we're going into this nice long right-hand sweeper. It's another draft-heavy section where you can actually get tucked in behind somebody, and you can go into that second Variante right here. Again, get to about the 100 marker or so, get hard under the brakes. With these cars, you really got to carry the speed through the turn because there's not a ton of horsepower to get these things out of the turns. So you're going to make sure you're carrying as much speed as you can. And now he's making it into the first Lesmo turn, which is a very tricky right-hand turn. Then you've got the second Lesmo as we're coming into it right now. Just want to clip that inside curbing, slide all the way out, and come down that straightaway. And this is where we'll resume with him down that same straight that he came last time by. It's a long run downhill in here. You go underneath that bridge, and you get hard under braking. You don't want to get too hard onto it, because you want to carry as much speed through here as you can. But if you get a little tricky through here, you lose so much exit speed coming into that second section of that Ascari. And now we're coming down that nice long straightaway into Parabolica one more time. And he is going to come around and complete his lap as he's about to make that turn. You wait till about the end of that concrete area there. get a little tap on the brakes and you just push out, and it looks like he probably got an off track there because you have to really stay on the track there.
He
You have to
did.
keep that inside tire on there. So he is not going to have a valid time that time. So commentator curse has occurred again. When we do ride-alongs, that always seems to be something happens to him. So, but that is a lap around the virtual Monza right now with the captain.
The captain with the captain, and you will see, and we can talk about that here in just a while, and why that right now, at least for this race, we are naming him the captain, and I believe Embriette will have something to say about that at the end of the race as well. But here's something I want to talk about. Look who's at the top of the leaderboard right now. It is not Inter-Alien Stephen Case, Mike.
No, it is Chris Eggert out on top right now in the 222 car. Chris laying it down right now with a 152.6. Good to see him up top. And I don't even see the alien hasn't set a time yet. So he is on the track, but he is not set a time yet.
Two green sectors, it looks like.
Green.
We'll see what happens here. It's not good, Mike. It is, I mean, I would expect Steven. Now, here's the issue. Steven has no draft help whatsoever. So, again, that time was invalidated as well. He is on his second lap. He is starting his second lap now. So, clearly some off tracks to be had here. And Steven is not in a good spot to do much. He's got nobody around him, Mike.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to get a good quick time. I don't think he's too concerned with that. He can. I'm sure with his abilities, he'll be able to pick his way through the field. But as you see him really cutting through those Varianta Delta chicanes right there, trying to get as much speed through those things as he can, still laying it down. But Chris Eggert still out in front.
Fastest lap.
Yeah, with a 152.2, so he is picking up the pace, and that's what you see right there. He is tucked in behind that 24 car of Dylan. And Dylan gets a little off track there, so he's going to lose a bit of that draft, but you can see the importance of having that draft on this track.
Christopher Wang here, beginning where he left off at the moment in Inter 2, right now leading 5th place overall, though, and this is something we need to talk about as points. Even though he's 5th place overall in the race, points are calculated per class. When I say that, that means, I don't know how the points actually go, and I probably should by now, but if you're first place in class, you get the most amount of points possible. It doesn't matter if you finished 5th overall. So that means Chris Wang right now is getting the maximum points with William Campbell Peach sitting in 2nd place. And that is a heck of a name, my friend. I will say that I am a bit jealous right now in a beautiful black and yellow number 95. And I believe there's someone on track here that I want to go to very quickly. There have been some things that have come out this week. And Mike, it's a bit infuriating to me, let's say, because I am very much a Lewis Hamilton fan. I'm sure nobody knew if you didn't listen to the broadcast. You definitely wouldn't know. But I do want to say something, Diego. Just because he showed up in red this week doesn't mean you need to change your car color. Keep the car color the same. Mercedes for life, buddy.
Okay, while we're on the topic of LH, what are your thoughts on his all yellow helmet?
I can't. I called him the Banana Man. My wife sent me that. First of all, my wife sent me the picture of his yellow helmet, and the first thing I said is, I hate you, because I'm still in denial. And the second thing I said was, he is now the Banana Man. So, yeah, I'm going to call him the Banana Man, even though he's my favorite driver still. Yellow helmet is interesting, but he did the same thing at Mercedes, and he is a bit, what's the word? He likes to stand out, if you have ever seen his clothes when he comes down the pit walk and stuff like that, Mike. So I think that's what it is. Stephen Case up into P2, though.
Yes, sir. Stephen Case pulling it up into that P2 spot. He is just 0.05 of a second behind Chris Eggert. So you can see the pace that Case has without any draft, and Eggert was able to pull that lap with some draft. So again, I don't think Stephen is too concerned with the being qualified back a little bit, but outside front row right now looking good for Stephen Case as we are closing in just past the 10-minute mark, closing in on 11 minutes. So about 4 minutes left in this open qualifying session. Just a reminder, this is open qualifying, 15 minutes, so everybody on the track at one time. Try to set your fastest time available. This is a no damage league, so damage is turned off. So if these guys do dip a tire off the track, get into the wall, break something, the car resets and they can keep on going. So that is very helpful during the race, as this is an intermediate class. So it's everybody's still learning their car craft, their positioning, and their awareness of other cars on the track. So there are times when these guys are getting together, bumble tumbles, and get together and rip a tire off, and then it magically reappears.
Yes.
So that is helpful for these guys to get going. As we're watching the 30 car right now, that
Eggert with the fastest lap again.
Eggert, yeah, and that's with a draft sitting right behind our guy there, Rob Vase, right now in the 19th spot. That's a pretty car right there. I do like those colors, a little silver and black and orange. That is a pretty sharp looking paint job there, Adam.
Yeah, it reminds me of the old Force India paint jobs right there, and that is a beautiful color. Obviously, it says Sahara on the side, so that's exactly what that paint job is. Danush Paborji, though, with a couple purple sectors. Where did he go? I am surprised we're not seeing Danush move up the leaderboard. He must have had an off track right at the end, and I think he did. He had 2 purple sectors. Oh, we are in slow-mo. That is not how slow they're going, I promise you guys. And we will see what happened here. Got a little bit of dirty air. There he goes. Yeah, man, he was flying through there too, Mike. He was on an absolute flyer.
Yeah, no, our new sandwich name at our new deli that we're going to be opening up soon.
Yes.
Denise Paborji, the man,
DP
the myth,
sandwich,
the
I believe,
legend.
is what it's called. Yes.
No. That's what you're calling it.
Oh, no. That's what Chad is calling. Don't you pin that on me. Chad is calling it the DP sandwich, Mike.
The YouTube sensation, Denise Paborji, the one and only. Trying to lay down a clean lap. Still no clean laps for him yet. And we're coming up with 2 minutes left to go. So he better get a move on and knock in a banger here. And he's only going to get one more lap around. He's going to get basically the white flag this time by. So he is really going to have to be clean on this lap, or see how he's doing right now and see if he's got a clean lap right now. We'll have to check.
Yeah, he might have a little bit of draft from that 480 car of De Silva, but I don't know. It's gonna be close because I think he's sitting outside of that draft. We do not get intervals in qualifying, so I can't really tell how far behind of him he is. But Danush is going to have to get a move, maybe sacrifice some time here. He's staying super wide. He didn't cut to the inside, so that tells me he's now going for it. This is his final attempt at a lap. And the one thing he has to worry about right now, Mike, are wrecks in front of him, because there are quite a few drivers in front of him. He is sitting up in 4th place. He's got one more chance here, Mike.
Yep. No, at least he's got a banger on the board now. He's at least up into that second row. Now he can be a little harder. As you can see him hard under braking, kind of locking up that inside wheel, pushes it right to that edge. As you see all those stones and everything falling off the track as everybody running off the track into that dirt section. But on board with Danush coming into that second variante. And it's just a hard braking zone. You really want to make sure you carry as much speed through here. That's the biggest thing here, is getting slowed down, but you want to make sure you're carrying lots of speed on your exit, because of all these long straightaways. You really want to carry your speed down and make sure you're going through. As he comes into the first Lesmo, little on the high side, able to keep it under control though.
Ooh, that was close.
He should be good. And then good tight there. That's a good line. Carries good speed out and looks good right now. So he is down that long straightaway in the center of the track, coming underneath the old oval section. Danush Paborji sitting in the 4th spot right now. We don't see him on the board down below, as time has expired in qualifying, so everybody's finishing the lap that they're on right now.
Kalen Michaelwitz with the purple. Yeah, sorry, Mike, I cut you off there. Danush now coming through Ascari, which is, most of these are Variante. And I believe that's how you say it, is Variante, Mike, just in case, your Italian isn't that great. But now coming through Parabolica here, Danush Paborji with the green sector. No purple, though, so that tells me he's probably not going to get it here. Now he's got to get as far out without getting that off track. He's staying outside. He's going to cut it down to the inside. I think he knows already that he doesn't have a lap to compete. Where is Danush going to finish, or where is he going to start, I should say. Across the line now, Danush Paborgi with the 52.761. Not good enough. He's going to start in 5th.
Yeah, it looks like Mikowitz getting by him as well, and Ganesh as well. So good qualifying from everybody out there. Good mix up. This should be definitely. It's going to be a very entertaining race, to say the least. The SRG guys really put on a great show, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do here, Adam.
Oh, me too. I mean, turn 1 is going to be absolute chaos. 22, 23, 24, 25 drivers taking the grid into turn 1. Prima Variante, are you kidding me? They can barely get 20 F1 cars. Yes, I know the F1 cars are a bit bigger, but they can get 20 F1 cars through there. Imagine 25 very, very angry Formula 4s going into turn 1. Stephen Case, Chris Eggert, look out, because there is going to be a draft going into turn 1.
Yeah, that's going to be a definitely exciting start to the race. And just in time for the start of the race, cutting through traffic to get into the production booth to be able to see what's going on today, Ron Mons is joining us now. Ron, welcome to week 6 of SRG. And this is going to be pretty exciting. What do you think is going to happen tonight?
Oh, I think it is going to be an absolute draft fest. If you guys haven't mentioned it thus far, I certainly will. Monza, it's a temple of speed. You know, we're going to have some very fast laps, going to have some drivers absolutely hauling the mail, heading through some of the heavy braking zones around this track. Probably not hauling the mail as much as I did going from a race at Daytona being broadcasted here on SMB to this race here at Monza also being broadcasted at SMB. I'm pretty sure I cracked the sound barrier and probably went to like Mach 5 trying to fly, was it like 2,000 or 3,000 miles in the span of a couple of minutes. But I'm here and ready to be with you on this broadcast, Mike. It's gonna be a really good one. And based off the qualifying times alone, the fact the biggest gap in the entirety of this grid was only a tick over a half a second really speaks volumes about how close the racing's gonna be tonight.
Yeah, no, you've got your top 5 that are really separated. Yep. So standing start. So we'll get through the grid here. I will start off with Chris Eggert on the pole with a 152.092 in that second spot as that inner alien of Stephen Case. And then on the second row, Anuth Ganesh in third. Starting right next to him is Kalen Mikowitz. And in the fourth spot, the legend himself, Danush Paborgi, and on the outside of him is Alex Velasco. Tyrone Da Silva starting off that fourth row. Next to him, Captain Kocher. We'll have to see how that goes later. That's going to be interesting. Joshua Corwin starting off on the inside of the fifth row. Rafael Cardenas on his outside. Christopher Wang in the sixth row. And next to him is Jose Navias. And after that, in the 13th spot, you got William Campbell Peach with Adam Duvall next to him. Thomas Brashear on the next row back. Kukaran Dillon next to him in that 16th spot. Starting P17 is Sayrab Vase with Ryan Shee in the 18th spot. 19th goes to Diego Posada, so tough starting for him. And 20th is Jason Tantrum as we are getting ready to go out. Ron, let's take it away, buddy.
Yeah, let's brace ourselves for what's going to be a really good race. Still waiting for a couple of more cars left to line up on the starting grid. So we'll call this the calm before the storm, before that runoff into turn number 1, that first chicane. It is deadly in all sorts of race cars. These F4 cars with those front wheels sticking out so far away from the cockpit. It is going to make for a really compelling night of racing action here from week number 6 of this already fantastically entertaining season of all the tracks to run a race at in these F4 cars. Monza, probably one of the best 11 corners in all around this historic track. It's hosted the Italian Grand Prix just about every single year. I believe it's been on the F1 calendar every single year. Sometimes it hasn't hosted the actual Italian Grand Prix. But nevertheless, ready to get things up and rolling. The 5 lights are at, and the drivers are on their way. And as the smoke goes up in the air, it's a pretty even keel start with both of our front row sitters. But it's going to be the inter-alien of Stephen Case slowly pulling out in front of Chris Eggert in that 222 car. But it's now a battle of the late breakers heading off into turn number 1. Who's going to try and go for the moves? Who's going to be a bit more calm? Let's see. Are we going to have some drama through the corner? We do have some drama through the corner. That's Ganesh getting involved in that in the 666 car. Multiple cars scattering around to try and avoid contact. Big contact being made as Trantum having a big moment of contact in that number 28 car, nearly getting spun around in a 4-car sandwich coming out of the corner. But surprisingly so here, Mike. Most of the field negotiating that first chicane clean.
Yeah, everybody got through there real good. Tough break for Phil Ganesh dropping him all the way back, and it looks like he is all the way back to the 10th spot. So he went from the second row all the way back to the 10th spot. So tough start for him. But good, clean start from everybody else, really kind of finding their way. But as we were talking on the lead up, Ron, we were talking about the draft heavy straightaways on this track, and you know it's the atmosphere of speed in the F1 class. So this is going to be no different with these what you call the 2x4 wings on these cars. We'll have to see what kind of draft friends they can get, if anybody can get separated, and if you lose that draft, you're really going to struggle to try to get back up to these guys.
I'm really disturbed by the fact that my vernacular on some of the other broadcasts I do here on SMB has spread like a disease. So I absolutely apologize for that. But nevertheless, this field looking to try and spread about as best as they can, spreading around like a bit of butter smeared on a scalding hot bagel in the morning. Tyrone De Silva in the 480 car, 2.8 seconds back of the front two, who are slowly but surely breaking away. Stephen Casey, Inner Alien, going to be leading it. Christopher Eggert in that 222 car, going to be leading it in the Inner 1 category, and in Inner 2, it's going to be Wang in the 14, all the way down in 10th, currently leading that class. But looking through some side-by-side racing a little bit farther in the back, involving Danush Parborji and De Silva heading off into the corner. Looks like they're going to get through as clean as they possibly could. Those side-by-side fights heading off into the first chicane, though, regardless of what kind of cars we're running around here with Mike, are always going to feel clunky, as that's a big amount of contact a little bit farther in the back.
Yeah, there looked like there was some big contact going into the first chicane on the front straight. So we'll have to see. Looks like we are on board with Adam Duvall in the 13 coming into the section, and I recall that 34 was tangled with him as well, Rudy Samuda, and they just blasted him. Wow, somebody missed the braking zone there. That was just, yeah, I'm not sure what the heck happened to there, but good thing this is a damage off league, because those cars reset and they could rejoin the fight.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the best way I could describe it. These Formula 4 cars here in the Sim Racers Group Intermediate F4 Championship, kind of like Stretch Armstrong. They could take a whole bunch of pummeling, and they still bounce back just about fine. Looking at the side-by-side fighting, heading into the Ascari chicane, Danush Parborji, very lucky that he's not involved in that in the 023 car. However, he's still got a fight on his hands. Got De Silva and Velasco running right in front, and right now we've got a pass for the overall lead, the Inter Alien and the leader in Inter 1 side-by-side. Heading in to Parabolica. Stephen Case holding off the challenge from Christopher Eggert for now, but Eggert in that 222 car, the mint green race car, hoping to try and be about as sour for Stephen Case as drinking some orange juice after brushing your teeth.
Yes, your analogies just, yeah, it's hard to follow up on some of your analogies, but you see Chris Eggert going around the outside. Buffalo girls go around the outside, by the way, and Stephen Case takes back the lead coming into that first chicane. Oh, this broadcast has been derailed completely. But if we drop back, and big accident back there with the 92, Rafael Cardenas getting tangled up with somebody, as you see a whole gaggle of cars trying to get into that first chicane. Rafael Cardenas comes into that first chicane hard under braking, and looks like there's going 2 and 3 wide. Looks like the captain getting tangled up there as well, but he gets a little love from behind. Some people pay good money for that, but tonight we are not, as Rafael Cardenas just gets a little damage, drops back, and resumes his fight. But close battle still up in that second group of cars, with Tyrone De Silva leading them right now. And then you got Alex Velasco in the 4th spot, Danush Parborji in 5th. So right now, big accident back there. Let's go back and see what that was. Ron, that looked like just sheer chaos coming out of one of the Lesmos.
Yeah, that it was, and it was Joshua Corn involved in that in the 037 car, and I think the other car involved in that in May, I don't believe it was William Campbell Peach in the number 95, but I think he was involved in his own incident. There's the 95 and the 93 side-by-side heading into the second chicane, and big contact being made through the braking zone. The braking zone really catching out a lot of drivers thus far. It's usually just been turn 1, but it's the second chicane that's going to catch out and Breed Hyde in the number 93 car, so she's going to get caught up in that incident, catching a little bit of airtime in the process. And here's Artul Ganesh in the 666 car. Let's see his perspective in all this. There we go, side by side. Corwin got loose heading through the second Lesmo, and sadly, Ganesh going to get smashed as a result of all of that. That's a tough moment for both of those racers. Thankfully, though, damage off in this series, as we've talked about thus far, and that's going to be very, very nice. And looking through the field, it's been a lot of stuff going on. And let's talk about a man who we haven't talked about thus far in this race. That's Kalen Michaelwitz in the 888. He's running in 6th at the moment. That's a spin for Danush Parborji coming out of the corner. The 023 car going to spin it. He was running in P5 at the time. That's going to allow Michaelwitz to slip up into 5th. We've got I feel kind of bad calling him Captain Kocher, but that's his name in iRacing tonight, so I'm going to call him that. So we got Kocher in the 422 car running right behind Michaelwitz, now occupying the 6th. Sideways. He's spinning it through the second chicane, and that was... I think those two cars merged within each other there, Mike. That wasn't even a matter of inches, millimeters, nanometers, whatever sort of unit of measurement you want to use. That was nothing between those two.
No, and Jason doing a good job right now. But as we continue our list through the field right now, in the 8th spot, you got Diego Posada. And right ahead of him is Danush Paborji with his little runoff earlier. Then in the 10th spot, you've got Jason Trantham in the 28 car, tucked in behind the captain, trying to get as much draft as he can down this straightaway coming into the Scary chicane. Then we'll drop back into that 11th spot of Christopher Wang. We saw Wang earlier with a little bit of incident and trying to work his way back through the field. And in the 12th spot, we've got Jose Navas in the 04 car. So you see a whole pack of cars right here on this straightaway, all running together. And that's one thing you want to make sure you stay in touch with that car in front of you. As you see a good move coming on that inside of the 037 of Joshua Corwin, go on the inside of Jose to take over that 13th spot. And then here comes under from Jose, taking it back, coming down the front straightaway. Ron, that was a textbook move coming onto that front straightaway.
Yeah, that was slick. That was a beautifully executed move that we just saw a couple of moments ago, but the side-by-side fighting still not going to be over. Joshua Korn going to try his best to reel in that car of Jose Navas Molina. Heading into the corner, look at that, the dive into turn number 1. Joshua Korn, though, going to get that moved up, but look at that, side-by-side, and nearly coming to blows through the second part of the chicane. It's going to be a drag race between these two. Heading through turn number 3 right now. Who's going to win out? Who's going to enjoy the draft? And who's going to be able to hold on to P12? Looks like it's going to be Corwin for now, as Jose Navas Molina going to slip back in tow. Will he go for the move, though, into the second chicane? Let's find out. Nope, he is going to hold on to that spot for now. I gotta say, though, Trentham just had a moment in the number 28 car. He lost out on about 5 spots. And look at the gravel all around this racetrack as well, giving our producer Adam's graphics card a big moment here. But here's a moment involving Trentham in that number 28 car. Let's take a look at it here, Mike, to see what happened into the second chicane. Was it contact? It was contact.
Yeah, just hard under braking, and he locked it up even harder. And I don't think he fully got into the captain there, but he did not harm him at all, so we are good. But resuming our field walk as we're going on the track right now, in the 14th spot is Ryan Shee, and it's constant battle going on around here, Ron. It's been just pairs of cars at least running together, and this is a great shot of coming down that final straightaway as you see a pop out from the 09 of Ryan Shee. Banging wheels with the 30 as they're coming into the Parabolica turn. And up into the 13th spot is now Ryan Shee, and on the inside, he must have watched it earlier, that high-low move. Jumping back is Sayrab Vase back up into that 13th spot. So good battle all around the track right now, Ron.
Sayrab Vase going to lose out in that battle as it stands for now, but those two cars still going to be side by side heading back onto that start finish straight away. The battling all throughout this field just absolutely insane. I feel bad for our producer Adam, who has to be like a chameleon looking at about 16 million different things at once side by side through the chicane, though. Who's going to win out of contact being made? Holy cow. The fact that one of those cars didn't end up in low Earth orbit is an absolute Christmas miracle, delivered about a month late side by side through turn number 3, though. Chia Garcia still trying to get that move done in that number 09 car. And let's see, will he be able to get it done with authority heading into the second chicane in a couple of moments? Looks like he can finally rest easy knowing that he slipped his way up into 13th. Vase, though, running wide through the corner. That's going to bring William Campbell Peach back into this fight as well. I gotta say, seeing these cars go side by side, that's another car going off the track coming out of the second chicane. That I think may have been Dylan, the number 24. Another car going off the track. That's Vase heading through the first Lesmo. These cars scattering around. It reminds me of going to like a park here in the city of Philadelphia. Just a bunch of ducks scattering around when I break open a bag of sunflower seeds. It is absolute pure. It's absolute pure unbridled madness that we're seeing all throughout this field.
Yeah, this whole field is scattered all throughout as we continue our walk back. As you see the 92 car go on the inside of Campbell Peach, Rafael Cardenas now up into the 14th spot in that black, white, and purple car number 92. So able to get by Campbell Peach that time by, tucked in behind these guys as you see them just weaving, trying to get that draft down that long straightaway to come into that final turn, that final parabolica turn. Campbell Peach on the outside. Is he going to try to do that high-low move like everybody else has? And he's just hanging out up there on that high side. Can't quite cut down and is able to get side by side down the front straightaway. As you see everybody else kind of tucked in and choosing their partner, choosing who they want to draft with down into that first chicane. And we are definitely going to want to stay with this battle coming into that first chicane up here as we are side by side with Campbell Peach and Cardenas going at it. Then it's 3 wide right behind him. Man, these guys are going at it, Ron, as we change cameras and we lose Rafael Cardenas in the 18th spot, dropping back off the track there, Ron.
Yeah, Cardenas sadly getting involved in some drama heading off through the first chicane, going to spear off the circuit. Let's take a look at the replay to see what happens to the Californian in that number 92 car. So I'm involved in that side-by-side fight heading off into the first corner, but I think it certainly ended in tears. Let's see exactly what happened here. Side-by-side, he gets a nose out ahead and, gets tipped over. Nearly ends up flipping it, very similar to what happened to Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen a couple of years ago here at this very track in Formula One. That's going to drop Cardenas back down to 18th as we've got a lot of stuff going on all throughout this field. And spinning off the track is Artul Ganesh in the 666 running down in 21st as it stands at the moment. More cars going off the track. I think Samoido may have been involved in that incident as well. Either way, though, lots of stuff going on all throughout this field. We got Varun Bali running in 23rd. I think Varun Bali, following him at the present moment, it is a peace and calm, tranquil moment from Bali. And now back to the Hornet's Nest. Stephen Case and Eggert side by side for the overall lead of this race. Casey and Aurelian, Eggert the leader in Inter 1, and they've given us a brilliant fight to talk about all throughout this race. And let's see how it's going to heat up heading into the first chicane. Will it be Stephen Case holding on, or is it going to be Eggert wheeling it on the inside? He had to fly that thing like a kite, hitting the curbs through the first chicane, but he's going to remain in P2.
Yeah, no, that's a great battle up front, but they've got a good stretch back to your next group. In the third spot, you've got Alex Velasco in third, and it looks like they are about 8 seconds back. So you got a good group in that second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. You got about, 10 cars all running together there at that next group. It looks like the big groups are really starting to separate. Everybody's kind of working their way out, and they're kind of into these little pairs right now. And as we're looking right now with Christopher Eggert, Trill trying to get by Stephen Case. He's got a draft coming through that second Lesmo. This is that long straightaway where you kind of go underneath the oval section, good downhill section from Eggert, trying to get a run on that outside line, but can't quite get the deal done. We saw a great race last week, and a great race with Stephen Case last week, so we're definitely in for a show right now. As we go back, Ron, to an accident, it looks like a Billy Campbell Peach in that black 95 car running right there with the 13 car of Adam Duvall into that second chicane, and Campbell Peach just loses the tail end of a little bit under braking, and no harm, no foul there, but just tough break for Adam Duvall in that 13 car.
These drivers clearly not a fan of the chicanes around this racetrack. I mean, in fairness, you go through there with all the grace of a figure skater running around with a whole bunch of fishing boots on their head. Oh boy, I'm really doing bad with some of the
That was a
similes throughout
tough
this
reach.
broadcast. Yeah, that was definitely a reach. Side by side with Case and Eggert heading down into turn number 1. Stephen Case going to hold on to the lead for now. But these chicanes, they have caught out so many racers thus far. We've seen a lot of collisions through the braking zones. I gotta say, though, it's probably the good alternative compared to the chicaneless layouts of Monza, because if we weren't running the chicanes, a braking zone hang off into the first Lesmo would probably more resemble a runway at an airport than anything else.
Yeah, that would be definitely a different track right now. But all these break zones is what makes it entertaining for these guys. Varun Bali, you talked about him having that nice, peaceful run by himself, having some kind of an incident. Not quite sure what happened. Looks like he's coming into a braking zone right here into the second chicane. Just loses the back end around on it. So not as peaceful of a drive for Varun Bali as you mentioned earlier, Ron, as we're back on board with Chris Eggert, still sitting in that second spot, still tied to the back of Stephen Case, looking to get a draft down that inside, going around the outside. Stephen ducks back out to try to hold that braking zone down into the Ascari section right here as they are going down in, heading towards the Parabolica. You see Christopher Eggert tucked in behind Stephen Case. And coming in here, and I think we got a visitor in our booth right now.
Yeah, hey Mike, sorry, I'm sitting back here in the production booth. My head is about to explode, but I did want to mention something, Mike. You remember Thruxton? Do you remember Stephen Case as Eggert gets very wide? That's an off track, maybe trying to get a move done, but do you remember how defensive Stephen was and how good he was on his defense at Thruxton? It's starting to show again here. Stephen is very, very good at defending.
Yeah, no, he is blocking every time that he can. But you see that run that Eggert was able to get by going that high line, absorbing that off track. But Case still holds that inside line. Eggert now on the inside of the second part of chicane. Oh, gets it a little sideways, Ron, and he is able to hang on to the lead.
Wiggling around real bad coming out of the first chicane. That's going to cost him a lot of momentum coming out of there. They're going to be side by side through turn number 3, and let's see how it's going to work out heading into the second chicane. Will it be Eggert holding on to the lead, or is Stephen Case going to fight back like the alien he is side by side racing? Looks like it's going to be Eggert holding on for now, but Stephen Case certainly going to be a driver who will risk it for the biscuit to try and get that move done, the inner alien, trying to prove why he holds that alien status, feeling the burn from Eggert, to say the very least. I was going to say something else, and there you can see Stephen Case running wide coming out of the chicane, as you can see a big, bad line from Kocher heading off to the chicane, and that may allow our Inter 2 leader, we haven't really talked about it all without the absolute pandemonium that's going on all throughout this field. I feel like if I was on this broadcast, I'd have to clone myself. It's just pure unbridled insanity that we're seeing all throughout this field. We haven't even mentioned that currently leading it in the Inter 2 category is the 8th place runner of Thomas Brashear in the 01, and finding himself in a battle with himself and Chris Wang. So we could have a fight to talk about in Inter 2 as well. An Inter 2 battle is probably not music to the ears of Adam in the production truck, but neither is my voice. I can't really say I'm any better. Side by side, coming out of Ascari.
Yeah, what's so crazy about this whole thing is, all this chaos that we've had, and now we've only got 1 minute left in this race. I don't know if you guys realize that, but it is 19 minutes down and 1 minute still left to go, Ron. So time has flown in this 20-minute race.
Yeah, I will be completely honest there, Mike. I probably would have been calling this as if it was a 24-hour-long race. I didn't even know the fact that we only had 1 minute left to go. So the white flag, I assume, would probably be in the air. Only one more lap of racing action here from week number 6 of the SRG Intermediate F4 Championship. It has been a wild one here at Monza, and we still got battles to be decided up and down the grid. We'll say the gap between Stephen Case and Eggert has ballooned now to about 3 seconds. So looks like it's going to be a game, set, match at the front of the field, but the battles all throughout this field are still intense. That fight, though, in Inter 2 is going to be one that I'm keeping my eyes on. Got an Inter 2 battle that Joshua Corin running 10th at the moment. The Inter 1 driver going to be involved in, but the battle at the front of this class is very much on between Brashear and Chris Wang side by side. Look at that defensive line from the 01, the 14 trying to wheel it on the inside. That's a clunky line through there. Look at the exit from the number 14 car. Wang trying to hold his ground and get the move done to slip his way up into to 7th overall and into the lead of this race. We've got the series admin of Kasha right behind. He's the Inter 1 driver. He may get involved in this battle if he wants to see a little bit of smoke. But look at that smoke getting kicked up in the air from Brashear running wide. The smoke and the dust from the gravel coming out of the second Lesmo. Stephen Case on track for a victory, but I could give a rat's ass about that at the moment. Christopher Wang trying to enjoy the draft. Bashir holding on to that outside line. They're going to be side by side. It's a battle of the last late breakers heading into Ascari, and Christopher Wang going to get that move done by sideways coming out of the corner. That's going to allow Brashear to get the move done back on him. Meanwhile, Stephen Case going to take the checkered flag, the alien going to abduct that winner's trophy about the front of the field in Inter 2. It is Brashear getting that move done back on Christopher Wang. That sideways snap coming through turn number 8 through the Ascari chicane going to hurt him badly unless he has a monster runner kicks on the nitrous. It looks like it's going to be Thomas Brashear, but he's closing. That gap is diminishing. They're coming right to the line side by side, but it's going to be Thomas Brashear holding on for the win. Holy cow, though. Christopher Wang gave him one heck of a fight coming to the line, and we got more battles going on.
Yeah, we got more battles coming down into that 14th and 15th spot. Trantham and Duval coming nose to tail. Duval tucked in behind in that 13 car, gets the draft and not able to take it away. So Jason Trantham able to hang on to that 14th spot. Adam Duval finishes in 15th as we see Embriette Hyde in the 93 sitting back here in that 17th spot. Kind of taking on her own place. And then Rodolfo Samudo in the 34 coming around the last turn, kind of all by himself, just running alone. He had a tough race as well. It's going to drop him down a few spots. Looks like he gained 3 spots, but he was up higher a little earlier. Just a tough race for him as we've got the last couple cars coming around. Looks like we are complete. Ron, here is our finishing order. Taking the win in that Inter Alien class, Stephen Case in the 2nd spot overall, but the winner in Inter number 1 is Christopher Eggert with a 222. Great battle with Stephen Case coming through there. In the 2nd spot in the Inter 1 class is Alex Velasco. Callan Michaelwitz finishing in 3rd. Denise Proborgi, the world famous YouTuber, finishing 4th spot, and Tyrone De Silva will round out that Inter 1 class. In Inter 2, that great battle coming on to the end there is Thomas Brashear taking home the win and 7th overall. Christopher Wang finishing in 2nd in that Inter 2 class. And then you got the captain finishing the 9th spot and rounding out your top 10, Joshua Corwin.
And looking through the rest of the drivers we have in this field, we've got Diego Posada and the number 44 car going to finish this race in P11. 3rd of the Inter 2 drivers, Jose Navas finishing right behind in 12th. Ryan Chia in 13th. Jason Trantham ends up in P14 overall. Am Duval in 15th. Polkaron Dillon going to finish this race in P16. Embriette Hyde in 17th. Rodolfo Samoido ends up in P18 at the end of this race. And looking through the final few drivers we have classified, we have Varun Bali finishing in 19th. Rafael Cardenas in 20th. William Campbell Peach finishing in 21st. Sarab Vase ends up in 22nd. Arthur Ganesh in 23rd. Neil Day in 24th. And Paul Mirchik running out your 25 cars that are classified from a very hectic one here at Monza. Nearly said Mugello. That's not the right racetrack. We visited that one earlier on in this season, but here at Monza, it was a hectic one. Gotta say, very happy that I switched over to this broadcast in time because I feel like you two would have probably blown your vocal cords out covering that racing action because holy cow, from start to finish, that was pure unbridled insanity. But hey, Mike, we got some drivers waiting in the interview waiting area. I'm curious who you want to have a chat with first.
Well, we had some difficulties last week with our interview time, so we'll go ahead and pull in the first one here, and that is going to be Joshua Corwin. So first one in, Josh. How was your race tonight? We really didn't see a whole lot of action going on around with you, except for towards the end there. But how was your race? How did everything go for you today?
Well, the first 3 laps were pretty argy-bargy, lots of close cars to each other. And then on lap 3, I was battling with my nemesis, Jason Kotcher, and I got a little sideways going through one of the corners, and I slid into, what was it? It was Ganesh. So I felt bad for that after watching the replay. And then I just got caught in a battle with with Jose, caught back up to the back markers of intermediate one, and then had another error and dropped back behind. So I beat myself today, and just got to do better, be more consistent.
So I hear that you were a racer in real life. What kind of cars were you running before, and what kind of series were you running?
Well, I actually raced motorcycles, 250cc Kawasaki Ninja for about 2.5 years. And then now I just do trackside support for a lot of vintage race cars, and the same like CSRG, like Tyler Hagan runs in. So that's how I met these guys.
Very cool. So how does that tie into what you're doing now? You know, your experience riding bikes through tracks, cutting apexes, things like that. Do you feel that it's transitioned you into sim racing to help you with, you know, your corner exit speeds or anything like that?
Well, I've always kind of been a video game enthusiast, and like I used to play Daytona USA in the arcades. I had Gran Turismo 1 through 6, Forza 3 through the most recent one, and I just got on to iRacing, and I like the format and I like how it's racing. The very first time I even got on this type of simulator, I got black flagged for leaving the pit exit wrong. I was like, yes, this is what I'm looking for.
Realistic settings, and definitely not a video game setting. So, with some of the tracks coming up soon, you know, is there anything that you've got highlighted? Anything that you see that you really got your target for?
Well, I really liked Monza. That was one of my favorite tracks, so I was hoping for a better result here. Let me go to the schedule here. It's coming up here.
Looks like you got Oscherladen next, and then
Br-
Zolder, Brands Hatch.
yeah, Brands Hatch is another track I'm pretty familiar with. That'll be a lot of fun,
Cool.
especially coming into that first corner. Uh, and then Saxon Ring is a good tight track I have done really well before. So yeah, Zolder and Navarra. Oh, Barcelona. Yeah, all of them. I'm looking forward to all of them.
Awesome. Well, Josh, I know we tried to get you in the booth last week, and we had some technical difficulties getting you in here, so we wanted to drag you in one more time. While you're in here, is there anyone to give a shout out or a big thanks to while you're here?
Well, obviously Jason Kotcher for everything that he's done, and all my competitors for pushing as hard as they push to keep me pushing harder myself. And yeah,
Awesome. Well, congratulations on a good run, and we hope to see you the rest of the season, Mr. Joshua Corwin.
I will be here.
Thanks, Josh. Have a great night.
Thank you.
All right, Ron, it is your turn, sir. Who would you like to bring in?
Oh, and mark of a true professional there as I talk with my mic muted. True professionalism here from my end. I apologize for that. Look, there we got some more drivers waiting up there in the interview waiting area, and I think I am going to bring in Diego Posada and have a quick little chat with him. Sorry, sorry for bringing you in mid conversation there, Diego. My apologies about that. But welcome into the commentary booth and talk us through this wild one that we just saw here at Monza.
Hey, Ron. So this has been a little bit of an audible. Jason, I'm using Diego's Discord, but I'm Tom. I'm
Oh.
Thomas. I'm Thomas Brashear, the number one car. My apologies. I think there's a little audible going on, and I didn't have the Discord. So that's my apologies.
Yeah, sorry about that, man. So, congratulations. I will completely restart this interview. So, Thomas, welcome here into the commentary booth, grabbing your first ever Inter 2 win here. So, talk us through this wild one that we just saw here at Monza.
A spectacle, I would say. I got extremely lucky in the beginning, dodging some mayhem, and then somehow dodged more mayhem, and then got in the front with a lot of the Inter 1 guys, and I just cruised. Towards the end, it was a little iffy because I had Chris Wing kind of breathing down my neck, but my knuckles are a little white from clenching the wheel so much, and pretty sweaty.
Yeah, that looked like a really sweaty race all throughout it, dealing with just an absolute hornet's nest of race cars battling tooth and nail throughout the race. And I want to ask you about your perspective and all that battling and how hard it was to just stay sane as this race divulged into absolute pandemonium.
honestly, I think that's the hardest part about racing, in my opinion, for myself, is keeping a cool, calm, and collective mind while racing. Like, hey, like I just have to focus on my craft. I have to be head down, just going. Like, even if I hear incident ahead, incident behind. Obviously, Monza, very tight track, and people tend to like to shove their elbows out in places that they shouldn't. So I was lucky enough to dodge a lot of those, but a lot of my fellow compatriots didn't. But I think the insanity was on my side, and I kind of got to dodge it all.
Hey, Ron, I'm going to jump in real quick here. Just ask Thomas a question. So, Thomas, you're logging in house, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so we didn't mention this earlier, but SRG does have about 10 units in house at a storefront, and we get about guys in the league joining there. So when you've got a race like this, Tom, where it's just like you said, RG bargy, you got guys banging and going everywhere. What is the atmosphere like inside the shop there?
Competitive. So as of right now, you guys interviewed Diego last week. He's my roommate, so him and I have been butting heads since we first started racing here. But two of the other gentlemen, Kay and Billy, we're also having a little, competitive streak going on where we're kind of talking a little bit of smack to one another, trying to see who can do the best, because we've all been racing in this league around the same amount of time. So I think I've been in, this is like my 4th season, I believe. I could be wrong. So I've known these guys since rookie. So I think we all in here, you can definitely hear a lot of chirping, a lot of, I would say, swear words, in the sense of if someone goes off or someone gets hit. There's a lot of spamming of the Italian hand gestures, and yeah, a lot of that, and then a lot of thank yous, which aren't actually a thank you. It's more of a thanks for ruining my race.
Nice.
Exactly. So two different ways to say it. But inside the storefront, it's a close knit group of guys and I think there's a gal here as well. And we all kind of, when we race, we're all happy-go-lucky, but once we get in the seats and like the green light goes, it's head down, like, hey, like, you're my friend, but if you and I are going to be going through a tight turn too wide, like, expect me to defend myself. I'm not going to just because we're friends, we're not going to let you walk all over me. And I think that brings a whole level of competitiveness that I've missed out since playing, say, sports in high school, right? Like, coming here has really like brought back that fire of like, okay, like, you know what? I might not be the best, but I know what I'm doing, and like I can put up a fight. And I think that really gets the blood pumping, and like the heart rate goes up, and so we get, like I said, a little sweaty.
Awesome, Thomas. Well, congratulations on taking your win in your class, and I hope to look forward to see you the rest of the season. Anybody want to thank or shout out while we're up here?
Ooh, I think a couple of my buddies on Discord are watching, so I like to take them. There's a bunch of them, but also I think a couple of my other roommates watching, Kevin. So I'm gonna shout Kevin out.
All right, sounds good. Well, Thomas, congratulations again, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of the night.
All right, Ron, I stepped over you on your interview there, so I will let you take the last one.
It's oh boy, quite all right there, Mike. Don't worry about that at all. I mean, you're usually the guy doing this series, so I feel like it's only fair. But I will bring Embreed Hyde here into the commentary booth and have a chat with her about how things went at Monza. And now I'm not even sure where to start here, Embreed. So talk us through that absolute pandemonium here at Monza tonight.
Yeah, it was pandemonium. I mean, I think we kind of all went into it expecting that because it's Monza. So my goal was just to have a clean race, and it was clean-ish. It was cleaner than many. I'll say that. The first corner, the first chicane, I'm really not sure how I made it through that. I'm gonna have to watch the replay. It was wild. I just saw cars spinning and flying in front of me, and somehow made it through the chaos there. And I made a couple of mistakes where I, touched the grass, went wide on a few corners, and it's classic Monza. Had a couple of hits with a couple other people, but nothing that ruined my race. I mean, I finished about where I expected I would, and I had some really fun racing with a few of the guys. So, all in all, I'd say it was a success. It could have gone a lot worse being Monza.
Yeah, just I am very happy that I was in the commentary booth for this race instead of behind the wheel because I feel like my blood pressure, if I was behind the wheel, probably would have spiked up tenfold. But I will say, kind of continuing on the theme of the interviews that I've been conducting thus far tonight, I think we have some news coming from the production truck with Mr. Adam Thompson. So, Adam, would you like to step in here for a moment and reveal some stuff?
Yes, I can do that. Hi, Embriette. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm great. Well, I'm the reason you're not watching this right now, and you will probably watch it a little bit later, but we switched off of your car for just a second because we gave a special shout out to somebody who decided to share a Discord chat with us, and his name has been changed
Oh, no.
in Discord, but his whole name tonight has been Captain Kocher. And Embriette,
Oh.
I am told that you're the one that headed up this operation, and it almost stuck, but it did stick over here at SMB. So, can you walk us through why his name is Captain Kocher in the race tonight?
I think it definitely stuck. At least I
Yes.
hope it did. And um, so the other night I had a dream, and in my dream I was chatting on Discord with Jason, and he was talking with me, and his handle was Captain Copter. So
Mhm.
um, I woke up, had a chuckle about that, and of course I had to post it on our internal SRG Discord channel. Everybody got a kick out of it and took a vote. It was unanimous. They all wanted him to start calling himself Captain Copter, and I agree. It has a great ring to it, and I'm just happy to play my part.
Well, unless we get yelled at, which I hope we don't, but in case we do, it might go back to Jason. But from here on out, unless we get yelled at by the guy that's paying us, his name will forever be Captain Kocher in Sim Racing Group. How's that sound?
Fabulous. I love it.
All right, go ahead, Ron. You can take it back.
It's quite all right. The top of the line questions asked here in the interviews on Slow Motion Broadcasting. But Embriette, I have one more question before you. No, well, for you here, I should say. Before we ask the final question in this interview, gonna be running at Oschersleben in 1 week's time. So pretty big departure from this racetrack here at Monza tonight. So what are your thoughts heading into that race in 1 week's time?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. It's going to be a nice break, I think, from the chaos of this week. I also didn't get as much practice in this week, which wasn't great. So I plan to prepare a bit better for next week, get out on the track a few times before we actually have the race, and just looking forward to some more fun battles with a couple of the guys. There were a few that weren't there tonight that usually I'm kind of battling with on track. So I hope they're back next week. It would be great to get out there with them and have some fun racing.
I gotta say, from my perspective, coming in to do these broadcasts, 3 of them now, and the entire time that this series has been here at Slow Motion Broadcasting, the racing has been absolutely awesome. You drivers out there on the track bring the thunder week in and week out. And I hope Adam and Mike never take that for granted because the racing action is absolutely phenomenal here. But Embriette, before we let you go and get on with the rest of your evening, is there anyone you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Yeah, last week I talked about some of the people that are, watching me from across the country, but I think this week I really just want to thank the whole community at SRG. I think we talked last week about how Adam had accidentally thought I was a man, and, you know, pleased my
Thank you for bringing that up again, Embriette. Thank you.
You're welcome. But I do it because you're right. You don't see women that much in sim racing, and I will not lie. I was a little nervous when I first started, and I wasn't sure what people were gonna think or how they were gonna treat me. I don't want people to tiptoe around me. I want them to, race with me like they would anybody else. And it's been such an amazing community. Everybody here is so supportive. I've had several people at different times tell me when they've noticed that I've made, big improvements. A few people will send me personal messages and tell me that they enjoyed racing with me. And then Jason, of course, or Captain Kotcher, I should say, um, none of it would be possible without him. He's the one that really fosters the supportive community and leads by example, and everyone just follows suit. I've had a lot of fun, and I plan to stick around for quite a long time and just have fun racing with this amazing, amazing community.
Some very nice words there for the entire Sim Racers group community there. So, Embriette, well done on that. I think you may get some pats on the head by some of your drivers at the end of this interview. But thank you very much for joining us in the commentary booth, and excited to see you back out on the racetrack for the rest of the season. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good night.
And that right there was Embriette Hyde joining us in the commentary booth. And now, Mike, I think we can finally start to catch our breath from a race where we genuinely had no time at all to catch our breath or even collect our thoughts. So this may be a little bit of a loaded question. I'll ask you to collect your thoughts on a really exciting and chaotic night of racing action.
No, the SRG teams does an amazing job, and they put on a fantastic race. And like I said earlier, at one point you look up and it's 2 minutes to go, and we had no idea that 18 minutes had gone through. So the racing action was fantastic from top to bottom, and we tried to go through the field to try to show everybody off on the broadcast. And every time we stepped back, there was a battle going on. So the Sim Racers groups are doing a fantastic job up in the Northern California area. If you guys are up in that area, make sure you guys go check them out at Sim Racers Group. But Ron, before I hand it back to you, I would personally like to thank you for covering me for those first couple of weeks with things going on around here in California and SoCal. I do appreciate you jumping in and taking up my spot for me.
I'd also like to thank you for inviting me into the commentary booth tonight. I hope you and the family are safe as those wildfires still ravage Southern California. Some of the photos that have been coming out of there have been rather tough to take a look at. So hopefully, Mike, as I'm hearing some of the fires are still a bit of a pervasive issue down there in SoCal, I hope you and the family will be doing all right. And fingers crossed that you and Adam will be back here for this broadcast at Oschersleben in 1 week's time for the Sim Racers Group Intermediate F4 Championship. And have it be known, folks, that the racing action doesn't.
Hang on.
Adam,
hang on. See, this is a perfect time for me to come in. And I normally say some witty things to Mike, as Mike knows when we're on the broadcast. So, Mike, you are very welcome for making sure that your house stays standing. And the reason I say that is we've got 2 airplanes. I obviously am a mechanic for the Air Force, and there are 2 airplanes down there making sure that Mike is okay. So, Mike, you're very welcome.
Well, thanks, Adam, and I appreciate all the efforts that you put in to save my house.
No, I don't worry about the efforts. I was just trying to make a very witty comment there, and it came off very not witty. But in case you guys will get to know us a little better throughout this broadcast, throughout this season, and yep, just saying, get ready for more of those comments because they're not done yet. But again, Mike, you're welcome.
No, and honestly, thankfully, where I'm at in SoCal, I'm not close to any fires, knock on wood, right now. But where I do work, it has been impacted around the area, and then through our company as well. We've had some other impacts. So just hope that everybody is staying safe. There's a lot of crazy things going on here in SoCal, and just make sure everybody stays safe.
Yeah, I think that's just about my thoughts exactly there, Mike. Hoping everyone is doing all right. It's from the other side of the country that those well wishes are coming from for me, but either way, it's still going to hopefully matter to the people who have been affected. But I will say, getting back on track and talking about the stuff coming up here on SMB, we've got a big week of racing action coming up. Between now and the next round of the season, we've got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 broadcasts between then and now. We've got the Formula V Weekend Warriors Racers, round number 6 of that season, coming to you on Saturday from Donington Park. Then the Formula Fords and Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors will continue that run the UK. The Formula Fords will also be running at Donington, while the Spec Racer Fords make their 6th trip of the season, heading off to heading off to Silverstone. Speaking of Brands Hatch, though, the American Muscle Series is returning here to Slow Motion Broadcasting. Round number 1 of that season going to be coming at you thick and fast at Brands Hatch. That'll be on Tuesday night at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we come back for Wild Card Wednesday here on SMB with the Ray Esports Club Racing League. Round number 4 for group number 2, 70 minutes of GT4 racing action. You'll be able to catch me on that broadcast. But if you were a fan of this broadcast, you should probably stay tuned to Adam and Mike being on the call for the Sim Racers Group SRG Intermediate F4 Championship, round number 7 at Oschersleben in 1 week's time. That's all the action coming up. Gives you more reason to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of the racing action here on SMB. But as for this broadcast for round number 6 of this season, that will just about do it. And so for myself, Ron Mons, Mike Braun joining me in the commentary booth, and Adam Thompson working on the cameras in the virtual production hauler, and also occasionally chirping in from that production hauler as well. Don't worry there, Adam. It's more than welcome. I want to say thank you all so very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you all wherever it is in the not too far off future.